Hello, mic test. Can you guys hear me? Oh, nice, nice. All right. Okay, thank you. Right. All right. Hey, good morning. Hey, thank you guys for the wait. So yeah, we were having some technical difficulties earlier on. So I guess that's already fixed. So yeah, thank you so much for the wait. Okay, let us begin. Good morning. So let me check out the names. Where are you guys from? I see AJ, I see Aaron, I see Anne Marie, I see BL Low, I see Bob, I see Desiree. Hey, hi there, Desiree. So we have Gustova, Jock, we have Kelvin. So we also have Kali, Kusuma. So I make it a point to greet you guys. I think the rest can hear. Desiree. Hey, hi there. So we also have Lars Petter. We have Moses. We have Naran. We have Pedro. We have Peter. We have Robin. We have Simon. We have Ted Choi. We have Ugo Chuku. We have An Cheong, and we have Zoran. Hey, hi there. Can try exiting. Exit and re-enter. Can try that. Wow, nice. Australia, Netherlands, Gold Coast, Australia. Yeah, hey there, mate. South Africa. Wow, nice. From the Caribbean. All right. So yeah, today we will be having quite an interesting session. Quite an interesting session on the Fibonacci speed resistance fan. Anybody used it before? Oh, Argentina, South Africa. Nice. So have anybody heard about this? The Fibonacci speed resistance fan. All right, nice. Can hear me now, Desiree. Good. All right, never heard before. Okay, we can begin on that. So let me get the other charts out. So I'm just adjusting the screen right here. So since I was having some technical issues earlier on, know of it, but you have not used it. Well, it's actually quite useful. So I was actually looking at it. It's actually quite useful to mark out certain areas. So I'll show it to you. All right, just a very quick disclaimer. Any opinions shared by the guest and speaker, so the guest is me, speaker is me, is not necessarily reflects the opinions or view of IC markets. So also do take note these sessions are audio recorded and may be uploaded in the future. All right, so with 3 topics for today. What is the Fib resistance fan? So when it comes to fan, what do you guys have in mind? For fan, it looks like a Chinese fan, a typical Chinese fan. That's what comes to my mind when I heard of it. So how do you interpret it, and how can you use it for trading? All right, let us begin. All right, introducing myself. So I'm the trade analyst for Everest Fortune Group. So we are an award-winning research team. So we are also the Technical Analyst Awards finalists for the best Forex and equity research for 2019, 2020, and 2021. All right, moving on. So what is the Fib resistance fan? Right, it's actually it's a simple method for plotting support and resistance. So you only need to know these important points: support and resistance levels, based on mainly because if you open trading view, there will be many Fibonacci lines. So you can actually narrow it down to the most commonly used Fibonacci lines, which are the 23.6%, 38.2%, the 50%, and the golden ratio. So the golden ratio is the 61.8% Fib ratio. So just take note, very easy. It's only for support, resistance, and only use this view settings. So I'll turn on trading view and I'll show it to you guys later on. All right, let me pull this up. Okay. All right, traders can actually use the lines on the Fibonacci. So when you draw it from the bottom swing low, and you draw it to the top, the swing high. So you can actually start to mark out, you can use these areas, all these lines. You see so many lines, these Fibonacci lines. So many of these lines right here at the bottom, they act and they help to predict key points of resistance and support. So they might expect price trends to reverse, possibly like this area right here, the 61.8%, price tapped and reverse. So you are watching for potential areas. But later on, I will also show you guys how you can implement it better. So once a trader identifies a pattern within a chart, they can use those patterns to predict future price movements and future levels of support and resistance. So in this specific setup right here, this can be a support. So when an area has been tested multiple times, such as this line, you can take a look. It tapped multiple times, it can be used as a resistance. So yeah, traders can actually use the predictions to time their trades, or you can trade the, what can you guys trade when you look at it? It's like a, as good as a consolidation within a range. So you can trade from, you can take a sell and take profit at the bottom. But you do also take note that please implement multiple confluences, multiple styles of trading before you use it. So do not just rely on the speed fan itself. All right. Any questions so far, or is it very easy to understand since it's just support and resistance? All right. Let us move on. All's good. Nice, Simon. Okay, Kusuma, you are okay with it. All right. Yes, it looks quite simple. Yes, I agree. It looks hard to use at first, but once you actually set the settings, I'll show you guys on TradingView later. It's actually quite simple to use. So how can we use it in trading, and how do we interpret it? So as I mentioned earlier, they can be drawn to identify potential, resistance, and resistance right there, and support. So the red color line, resistance and support. So it's only used to do that. So once a pullback starts, the fan lines provide key levels to watch as the price corrects itself within the range. So after a decline like this chart, the Fibonacci fans line can be drawn to identify potential resistance or reversal areas. So in this specific scenario, we are drawing from the top swing high to the bottom swing low. So you can see if price continues moving upwards, you are just watching all these areas, all these lines right there, just watching where will it start to, form a resistance or a support. So it's just like a prediction tool. You're not using it to like properly enter a trade. It's like a very nice prediction tool. So the fan lines provide the charties or for all you traders looking at key levels to watch as the price bounces around. Right, so if you are using a regular trend line versus this Fibonacci fan, the Fibonacci fan lines extend, they makes them dynamic. They are a dynamic line instead of a static line. Static line, it's not moving, it's just one line, and you have to continue readjusting it to suit your need. All right, let's move on. Okay, maybe I will move on to showing you guys the settings on the chart first before we move on to how we can implement it better. All right. Okay. All right, in this scenario, let's take a look. Maybe I'll start to use the chart replay button. So this is how I always draw a Fibonacci line. So just now earlier on, I was showing you guys, the settings is right here is the Fib speed resistance fan is from 1, 2, 3. You go down, speed resistance fan. So if I draw it from the top, not yet. So this was the previous low first. It was the previous low. And I show you guys my settings first. You guys can copy it before we continue. Please take a photo. You can do it live together with me also and turn on your trading view. Guys can turn on your trading view and then, you know, feel free to copy the settings first before we continue. Give me a moment. Right. Sorry for that. Okay, let us continue. All right, so these are the settings you can continue following. So at the bottom, I did not use the background. So by default, the background was ticked. So please use that settings. All right, so Desiree, you actually asked a pretty good question. You're asking why is it called a speed fan? Resistance, you understand? So yeah, there's also resistance and support, but speed, what does speed mean? So these are the speed lines. It's just a name given to the tool. So all these, they are referring to the speed lines. So that's where the name comes in, speed lines. So you are just finding potential areas where price might react to. Same thing like a fan, speed resistance fan, the speed lines, and it forms the shape of a fan. So yeah, all right. Let us continue. Okay, so I will use the bar replay tool. So you actually notice that I drew it from this area, from the top to the bottom. So this was the currents area. This was the initial currents area, the initial currents low. So let us take a look. Price actually reacted strongly against this level, the 75% Fibonacci line, the speed line before it continued bearish. So just very quick, let me get the, okay, move it to 3. So as it continues moving, I'll start to adjust. Every time it goes lower, I'll start to adjust. You can take a look. That's why it's dynamic. It's a dynamic line, unlike a trend line. If you are using a trend line, you're just drawing non-stop. Has to keep moving, but with this speed fan, it saves you the time. You can pull it down, take a look from down, pull it here, it will just move. Everything will move nicely. So how I draw a speed fan, as soon as price goes lower and lower, I'll continue adjusting it. So let's take a look if it adjusts lower. Okay, it went lower, so I'll adjust it even lower. Same thing like a Fibonacci line. Later I'll show you why it's very important to adjust it all the time as it's moving. So price continues moving up. So I'm searching. Can I start to look for a sell? Because it's bearish, price has broken market structure in this specific situation. Okay, I do not have that in place. Okay, never mind. I'll just use an arrow. All right. So price has already broken market structure. It's coming down pretty nicely. So I'm just looking for a sell. Let's say I'm looking for a sell, but I do not know where. So I can use this as a, what can I use this for? Potential areas, start to look for resistance around these areas. Then I'll show you how to improve on that. So with that being said, let us continue. Price reflected off. Looking at this area, potential resistance already. So it continues moving up. So it moved higher. So our resistance line has been readjusted to the upside. With that, price continued. Why do you, okay, that's a very good question also. Why do you not use the highest wick candle to the left from the points you started? Because if you draw a Fibonacci line, so Desiree is asking why did I not draw it from the top right here? Because this is not a clean, let me get the Fib out. Okay, looking at Fibonacci, what you want is something that is very close, something that's close to the trend line of a Fibonacci. So if you actually draw it, draw it down here. This is very close, but I'm currently looking at this area. I'm looking at the current area. You can actually draw it this area also, but in this specific scenario, I'm looking where price might head to. So you can actually draw two Fib fans also. So let me change it. Let me draw it out. So let's say you draw it from the top. Let's say if I take this area as the swing low, but the swing high must be within the range. Cannot be higher because this area is out already. So if I draw it higher, it wouldn't make sense, because if I draw a Fibonacci line, it's way too far apart. Price came up, it's too wide. This area is too wide already. So let us continue. Let us continue. Right, as I was mentioning, looking at this area right here. Okay, you got it, no problem, no problem. If you're looking at this area right here, this is the potential resistance. So I write this, potential resistance is not a confirmation. It's just a tool to predict potential supports and resistance areas. So I'll turn it to 20. Take a look, price continued. After that, moving downwards, rejecting that area before it pushed to the downside. So this comes to my point. Okay, do you use the most recent high or low? Yes, use the most recent high and the most recent low. You're right, Bob. Thank you for that. All right, so this comes to my question also. How can you improve it? How can you improve it? How can I say, oh, price can hit this area or hit this area? How can you be more certain, adding confluences? So looking at the PowerPoint slide, back to that. Right, moving on, you take a look. Like in this specific scenario, which I highlighted it out, you can actually find, you should actually look to the left of the chart. Left of the chart. So in this situation, I was drawing here to here. The most recent swing low and the most recent swing high. So always look to the left of the chart where price might potentially head to. So for this specific scenario, I'm looking for demand area, highlighted by this block right here, looking for areas where price might potentially head to. So I just wait for price to come down. Price came down, tapped into the area, and behold, it's currently resting on the 61.8% golden Fibonacci line, the speed line. So it's very nice. It's perfectly in line, in sync. So you can possibly expect, since this is the golden ratio, and also with that entire demand zone in place, price can potentially reverse to the upside. So this area becomes a support. Same thing, going to the resistance, moving on to resistance, how to spot a potential resistance. Okay, maybe I will show it on live on the chart instead. So in this scenario, I'm showing you guys the potential resistance. You can actually draw a rectangle. Can we associate this with Fibonacci retracement tool? Yes, sure. So I'll just show you this quick one first. So maybe, you know, some people like to use what demand, supply, all these kind of methods to draw. So you can actually draw it from here. You can take a look very nicely. So you can draw it a classic. You can draw it a classic resistance area, and it's in line. It was in line with the. Let me get my brush out. It's in line with the 75% Fibonacci ratio. So price tapped in. Nicely, we have a supply area. Everything lines up perfectly. Looks very, very nice. Right, let me get the Fibonacci line out too. So if you draw a Fib, so same thing. I draw it from the top to the bottom, lines up nicely. Top to bottom, I will label and I'll show out all the Fibs. So you also notice very, very nicely, I'm sorry, this chart is a bit messy. I'll just change it to 61%. So if I delete the fan for a moment, let me delete the fan. So you actually notice that that area is in line with another golden Fibonacci area, the 61.8% Fibonacci line. So many confluences in play, 61.8%. We have a so-called supply zone, potential resistance zone, and we have the Fibonacci fan, which is the 75% speed line. So we have three confluences in place where we can watch out for price to potentially reverse to the downside. So yeah, this is how you can actually improve it without just relying solely on the Fibonacci fan, the speed fan. You're just watching. You cannot just, it makes no sense if you do this. Let me draw everything out again. It makes no sense if you just draw it out top to the bottom, and then you start to wait for potential reversal. You start to wait, start to stare at the chart. No problem, no problem. Yeah, sure. So it makes no sense if you stare at the chart, just keep waiting. Wow, 38.2%. Can it reverse or not? You're thinking in your head. Then you start to stare. You got things to do. Everyone has a life, We cannot just be staring at the chart from morning to night. So we cannot just be staring like that. Staring at the chart. Wow, maybe it can reverse from here. Moving up 0.5. Can it reverse from there? You're just watching non-stop, watching all these lines. So looking for potential reversal. So that's the reason why you have to use other forms of analysis to better spot out, better predict a potential reverse area. So yeah, as just now I did mention 61.8%, and some more we had the very nice supply area. So yeah, any questions so far regarding the use of the Fibonacci fan, speed fan? Do let me know. Any questions? You guys having difficulties, or do you guys need the settings again? All right. Let me clear this chart out. So I just do a quick replay, let it ride. Price continue, moving to the downside. Let me clear this out, exit this replay. All right, next, maybe possibly, we are looking at the most recent data on euro dollar. I assume you always draw in the direction of the trend. Yes, Bob. So let's say we are looking for potential. Let's say euro dollar, looking at this is the most updated one on the hourly charts. So I'm drawing from the bottom to the top right there. So you can actually draw it to there as the first area. Then after you start to watch, oh, price just tapped. So you draw from bottom to the top, right there. For now, I'll explain more. So you are drawing to a direction. So you notice that price has been bouncing within this area before it started to continue moving downwards, moving bearish. So in this specific situation, if I draw a very nice demand area, where's the box? Okay, got it. If I draw a box right there, you notice that price tapped very, very nicely, very, very cleanly into the demand area, and which is in line with the 75% Fibonacci speed fan. So yeah, it kinds of adds confirmation to whether you think price can head down to that level. So yeah, price just reflected off that level and it's pushing on to the upside, but also still respecting this area as a support line. Okay, let us move this entire area out. Let me clear it out. Okay, let's move on. We'll pull this up to the most recent high. So another question, in case I didn't explain myself clearly. So in case you guys don't understand, do let me know. So let me draw it out. So in this specific scenario, I drew it to the top right there because previously we don't know this is the most recent swing high if I'm using the replay. So I'm looking where price might potentially head to if it was reversing. So in this scenario, I'm thinking this area, and let us watch, which is in line with the 75% Fibonacci line. So let us begin. Tapped in. So yeah, and then from this area, I can actually pull the fan up even higher. So now I'm drawing it up to the most recent swing high. So looking at this area right now, is also respecting, currently still respecting the 61.8% area. So let us continue. Price goes up. Okay, I think we have come to the end of the replay. There's no more replay. All right. Okay, potentially we can see price. So you actually see price is currently like in a range. It's within this small little range. So it's like bouncing around. So we can possibly expect, if you are buying, let's say on the smaller time frame, on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, 1 hour time frame, move on to 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and take a look. This is on the 5 minute charts at the latest area. Notice that price is currently consolidating around this area. And you can also, if you are in a buy, let's say you took a buy, maybe we need a better, okay, move on to 1 minute. Maybe it makes more sense that way. All right, let's have a chart replay. Assuming I don't know what is up, you can use that. You can use the speed fan as a potential take profit area, since it's a resistance, so-called resistance. So if I draw a line right here, I'll take it as a break of market structure. So why is that so? So you draw the structure out nicely, go up, and then it broke. Hence, that is a market structure shift. It's an MSS, market structure shift. Right, let me check, is there any more questions? Give me a moment. All right. Okay, there is a market structure shift in place. So you can actually also use a Fibonacci line. Fibonacci line, let me get it out. A Fib retracement line from the bottom. So at this area, why I'm drawing at the bottom, it's because this was the area that caused the entire break in market structure, the previous swing low. So I can start to look for an entry. So all Fibs, preferably, I always try to look for an entry around the potentially the maybe the 50% area or the 61.8% area for better entry. But I also noticed recently, based on just back testing, so I actually do back test on the weekend. Back testing is very, very important. I actually do back testing every week on the weekends, 2 to 3 hours a day, just to back test the entire week's data. Is there any timing? The London or New York session, is there a possible entry that I missed? How could I have improved my entry? So I take all this into account, thinking about all this, and try to backtest, start to backtest 2 to 3 hours just on the weekend. All right, just looking at this area right here. So maybe I'll just show you, just there's a pretty nice demand area right there, which coincides with the 38% Fibonacci line. So let's say I take a buy, stop loss below, and I can aim up towards the fan, the speed fan. So as soon as price reaches around the area or touches onto the speed fan, I can close out my trade. So in this situation, it's a 1.34 risk to reward. Just a reminder, this chart is on the 1 minute chart. So let us begin. Price goes down, tapped into my entry, but it went lower before it moved up. So in this area, I would have closed out my trade the moment price tapped into the Fibonacci speed line. So yeah, any questions so far? So let me just try to check whether the 61% did hit. So I went lower, take a look, very, very nicely, 61.8%. That is the best type of entry before it moves to the upside. So yeah, let me change it back, 38%. All right, how many pips is that? It's, let me pull this aside. It's 18.6 pips. This is the most recent data on euro dollar. This is today, 3 hours ago today, around 3 hours today. $18 pips. All right, let's move on. So I'll just exit this bar replay. You can, okay, maybe I should continue the bar replay to show how price reacts, you know, how it reacts along this speed line. So we start price, continue, just goes down. It becomes this area is a resistance. So I'm actually drawing it on the larger time frame. That's the reason why it's very important to do top-down analysis from the larger time frames to the smaller time frames. All right. Maybe I'll screenshot this down and leave it in chat, copy link to chart image. Just send it so you guys don't have to screenshot. All right. Let's move on to the next area. So I actually have one more example. I actually did one example where you can start to look for you know, some kind of pattern that is going on. So you can take a look at this area. Price is respecting the 23.6% Fibonacci line. So it respected once, two times, three times. So it makes sense. There are actually many times it did respect, but if I draw too many lines, it looks very, very messy. So it's also respecting the 50% line, 50%. So you can actually use these areas as a take profit area, take profit target. As I mentioned earlier on, looks like a consolidation zone. So you can trade from the top of the consolidation to the bottom of the consolidation. Which time frames are best for this fan? So you can actually use it on the 1 hour for the best results. 1 hour, 4 hours. But do take notes that intraday traders usually use the 1 hour, 4 hours, so you can draw it 4 hours, 1 hour, then move on to your 15 minutes, 5-minute chart after you have done that. So just now I just showed you the let me move back. Let me delete this first. Right. So this actually is on the 1 hour chart. So intraday traders, you can use it on the 1 hour chart, draw it from the bottom to the top, and then move on. Like me, I'm usually on the 1 minute chart. Just to let you guys know, I'm usually on the 1 minute chart. I'm trading on the 1 minute chart because I'm looking for that very, very quick movement, trying to scalp the best moves on the market. So just now I actually took one trade on euro dollar. So if you guys are interested, I can show you my trade. So I exit this bar replay first. I took a trade just now during London session. All right, let me clear out this area. Right. If you take a look right here on the hourly chart, I will just leave the speed fan on. So I noticed the speed fan is respecting the 50% Fibonacci line. So it became a resistance. But also, if I draw a Fibonacci line, just now someone did mention, what is your name? So yes, who is that? Pedro, you asked just now, can you associate with the Fibonacci retracement? So yeah, just now answered you already, but I'll show you one more time why I was expecting the 38.2%, why I mentioned 38.2%. This is based on my own back test. Take a look, draw from top to the bottom. It reflected off very, very nicely, 38.2%. So that is where I started looking for a sell. I was only confident on the 38.2% area just based on backtest, just watching, expecting. So I'm just expecting price to reflect off that area. So moving back down to the 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, take a look what happened. So I'll just mark out the Asian session. Asian session goes on from 7 a.m. New York time to, okay, my bad, 7 p.m. New York time to 12 a.m. New York. So for my timing, it's 7 a.m. for me. Move it. Let me get the box blue. Okay. To 12 a.m. So this is the, let me just show a quick trade recap. Asian session range. right? Maybe I should bold it. Okay, looking at this area before we head on to London, I only trade during the London session, so it's 2 a.m. Singapore time. So let me show it to you. Where's that the line? Right, the vertical line, 2 a.m. starts from here. I'll only trade within this timing and 5 a.m. New York time. So this is my entire trading time that I'm only looking at. So if you take a look in this situation, I saw that price actually broke structure. How did price break structure? Take a look at this setup. Price went up, and it broke right here. So what is this area? I call this area the lower high. So a lower high was formed right there during the London session. And then price also broke structure right there. The zigzag got broken. So what did I do? I waited for price to form a strong displacement. So what do I mean by displacements? I'm looking for displacement right there. Displacement. This is how I confirm my entry. Displacement equals. Okay, wait, let me get this out. Equals strong energetic movements. So it's strong energetic movement. That is a displacement. Strong energetic movements, and it's a body close. So the body of the candle close below. So that was a very, very strong displacement that happened right there. So what I did was I entered a sell limit. I waited for price to retrace back up, tap into this gap right there. So I always make use of the market imbalances. I'm sure if you guys watch me before, I always talk about market imbalances in the markets. So I actually took a short right there. Let me get the box out. Okay, the box is right here. Take the box out. You can actually see that there is a previous gap, market imbalance, fair value gap. So I took a short right there. Very, very quick one. Stop loss above. Why did I set my stop loss there? Because this area has already been mitigated. So yeah, you say I promised a webinar on market imbalance. So well, yes, I actually talked already. I already told them about it already. So they are still discussing on that. So when there is, you guys can know about it. It's under the IC markets. IC markets webinars. So you can see it under the upcoming webinars. So I already told them already. I told them that you guys are interested to know more about, smart money concepts. So in the future, if it pops up, you will know. So yeah, just because of this area got, has already been mitigated as in has already been cleared. So I expect that high to be respected. So with my stop loss in place, the trade went down, and I did not close all the way down. Where did I close? I closed it because if you draw a Fibonacci line, remember I always talk about the 61.8% Fibonacci ratio. So you draw from the bottom swing low to the swing high. So you draw a fib all the way top, 61.8%. Take a look. Price cleared very, very nicely at the 61.8%. Tapped very nicely, and then it rebounded. So immediately took profit and I left for today. So yeah, that is the only trade I took earlier on just now. So you can see how well it plays if I use multiple confluences, multiple type of indicators. You can actually use indicator like this, the speed fan, and all these other factors in place, displacements, imbalances, lower, high, all these kind of thing. So yeah, don't worry. I hope that they will go ahead with the market imbalance webinar or the smart money concepts webinar. All right. Let me clear out these drawings. So moving back. So let's say if you are looking at the most recent area, because this area, if you draw from top to bottom, price is very, very close. That's how we determine whether the Fibonacci line is clean. So this is a clean one. We can actually draw a speed fan. So we can potentially start to look for areas where price might react to. So in this scenario, I'm drawing from here to here. And also, as usual, I will implement the Fibonacci line, fib retracement from top to bottom, all fibs. Next area, this the 38.2%. So at this specific area right now, we can expect this area to be respected and not break out from this area. Potentially tap into that area, maybe clear out a high right there before it continue moving bearish. So I'm thinking euro dollar can be bearish for today. All right, let's move on. Let's find more setups, back test, move on to setups where we can look for. Okay, let's say I have a replay right there. So I draw a fib fan from the bottom to the top, looking where price can potentially react to. So I just take a look. 75, where can price react to? So take a look, there is a nice demand area right there. So I can just draw it out. Let me extended green. All right. And the 61.8%, nah, there's nothing much. There's nothing. I always look to the left. Just remember, always look to the left of the chart. So 61.8%, there's nothing nice right here that I'm looking at. So move on to the 50%. So the 50% has something nice, so we can start to draw out where price might potentially hit to. Same thing, 38.2%, looking good, man. So there's actually something there looking to the left. There is a very nice demand area also. So we can start to draw out that area. So let's take a look. Even the 23.6%, there is also, I do apologize for that. Okay, 23.6% area, there's also a tiny demand area. How do you determine a demand area? A quick one. How do you determine a demand area? Thank you. No problem. I look for candles that do not overlap. So something like that. So if I were to say that this is a demand area, let's move back. What is a bad demand area? So this can be a demand area. The candle did not overlap. There's no candles that has came down previously to tap into this nice little block right there. So what is a bad demand area? If you actually draw it right here, this is already makes no sense. It makes no sense to be a demand area already, because price came up, tapped already. So if you continue leaving this area right there, it makes no sense for that to be a demand area. Why did price bounce off this area? You wouldn't know, because you didn't adjust. Price has already mitigated this demand area. So if you move it up here, pretty clean demand area. Price came up, tapped, and bounced. So if you're looking for shorts, if you're taking a short right there, your first take profit can be at that very nice demand area. So it's the same thing, same goes for supply zones. Price came up, like in this situation, price came up, previously did not tap into that supply area. Before it, taps and continue towards the downside. All right, hope I did answer your question on supply and demand. So moving back at this setup right here. So I was mentioning that if you look at the 23.6% Fibonacci speed fan on the left side, there's a pretty nice demand area right there. Let me take a look. Right. So if you actually draw a line, draw a box, pretty nice. There is a demand area, extended box, green. So let me start. So I start the bar replay. Price is currently, price has tapped into that area pretty nicely and it continue rebounding. So I'm looking, if price continue moving downwards, where can it head to? So my next area, I'm looking at this area already. So in this setup, I would have set this area to be already mitigated. A box blue. So I pull it out. This area, I'm no longer looking at this area anymore since it has already been cleared. So continue looking for price to go down. Tapped. See, it taps into that area and it bounced. So always just remember, look to the left of the chart. So I just change it to extended box blue. This area has been mitigated. The demand has been mitigated. Before we continue, price moves down and just tapped very, very nicely into that demand area. So yeah, that's how you actually take a look for demand area. Always look to the left side. All right. So let me exit the bar replay. So yeah, any questions so far? Any questions so far? You know, on the Fib fan, on the Fibonacci, on support, you know, demand, supply and demand. Do let me know. Let me check the questions. Let me check the questions. All right, I do hope I've answered all the questions already. So yeah, any more questions, do let me know, guys. Do let me know. You know, just a quick one before I end this session. Okay, demand is not clear to you. Okay, let me explain it again. Okay, I'll clear all the fans. So you're looking for a candle where price previously has not tapped into it, so price went up like this area, price went up and continue moving upwards. This is the bottom. You can call it a previous very small swing low, a very small one. So you can treat that area as a demand. This area right too. Okay, let me find. Okay, give me a moment. I might have all right. So if you actually draw this area, let me draw out more demand areas. These areas are previously demand areas also. Take a look. Price came in, tapped, and went out just to mitigate that area. So it's not always seen very, very clearly. So in this specific setup right here, there might be a demand very, very small around this candle. So maybe you can move on to the replay, move on to the maybe 5-minute chart. Take a look. So just now this area was on the 1 hour. That's why I always mention using. So the next candle closes above the previous one. Yes. You have a better explanation than me. So thank you very much for that. So actually, identifying demand and supply areas actually takes time. It takes some practice. That's the reason why I always mention, please do backtesting. Please do backtesting. Please do backtesting on your charts. All right, I almost spilled water. All right, in this situation, there isn't a clean demand zone. Why am I saying that right here? Because if you actually say, oh, this candle closes above, like what you said, but price has already tapped in. This area has already tapped in. So to me, this is not a clean demand area. So maybe you let price run. This is not counted already. Let price run. So is there an area where price can potentially hit to? Maybe on the 1 minute. All right, to move on to the 1 minute, take a look. These areas, very, very nice areas. Price has not tapped into this area. Extended box green. This area, this specific candle right there has not tapped in. Pretty nice. This area also previously has already tapped in. Let me show it to you. So if I'm setting blue, it's already mitigated, has already been tapped. So take a look. Price came in very, very nicely just to go up. It almost tapped. It didn't tap before it move up, and tap very, very nicely before it continue moving bullish. So yeah, this on the 1 minute chart we are looking. You take a look, price just tapped very, very cleanly into that area. Are the demand area candles always green? Yeah, it can be red also. It can be red also. It does not have to be green all the time. It can be red also. Like in this specific setup, an example, take a look at this. This is a red candle. It's no longer green. Let me pull it out. Take a look. Price tapped in very, very nicely. So it does not have to be green. It does not have to be red. As long as price previously has a very like a imbalance, it moves up, price goes up, came down, tapped in nicely into that demand area. So demand is like a a better name, better form of support and resistance. So yeah, you can take a look with the bar replay. Price just tapped in onto the 1 minute demand zone. So for scalpers, they will take all this into account: 1 minute, 5 minutes, larger time frame. So let's take a look. Let's do a bar replay. Price continued upwards from there. So yeah, this area, it didn't come down lower. Did it? Did it? Let me take a look. All right, so it continued moving to the upside, continuing respecting that demand area. So yeah, I'll just clear this out. So from this point on, price should just continue going higher. So we just ended that replay. So yeah, I'll ask them. Let me clear this out. So definitely I will be asking again. I'll be asking again and again. So I already told Desmond about it, that you guys are interested in the supply, demand, smart money concepts, the imbalance areas. So yeah, he's actually helping out, just talking to them, see whether we can have that webinar up and running. So it would be better if we have an entire webinar just focused on that. Everyone can practice together, got proper explanations, proper slides, everything out, everything nicely. Definitely. Yeah, you're interested, Bob. I'm also very interested to teach you guys. It would be very, very interesting session. Help to improve you guys trading. Yes, you appreciate it. No problem, Desiree. Hey, Kelvin, yes, you definitely want. Yes, I know you want it. I'll ask him again. So yeah, Desmond currently isn't in Singapore at the moment. He's overseas at the moment. In case you guys are wondering. So yeah, he's actually just having a holiday with his family. So that's why I'm taking over today. A fabulous session. Thank you, AJ. Thank you very much. Do you use Fibonacci fan on the 4 hours or daily? Well, you can also use it on the daily. You can also use it on the 4 hours, because as I mentioned, if you draw it on the larger time frame, it will be stronger. It acts as a stronger area for support and resistance. So yeah, any more question, guys, do let me know. Ice session, nice. Thank you, Nara. Lovely webinar today. You will practice this flip. Yes, please do. Interesting topic today. You will test it out, Bob. Sure. No problem, Anne Marie. All right, so it would be good for more smart money concept if you are okay with it with Desmond. Thank you, Yongqing. Okay, thank you, Simon. Yes, definitely. I'll let him know when he's back in Singapore. Hey guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you, good session. Thank you very much. See you soon, Pedro. See you guys soon. Thank you very much for joining today. Do take note, this Friday is NFP, so do take care with your trading. Hey, bye guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Cheers, cheers. Bye, Zoran. Bye, Edmund. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all. Bye. Have a good one too. Bye.